Hi, this is Tom Kane, the voice of Jedi Master Yoda. And this is Inside the Force. Listen, you will. Foreseen it I have, yes.
It is a period of Star Wars mania, as new movies, comic books, novels, and TV shows populate the system. Fueled by their love and passion for the galaxy far, far away, two exceptional geeks tap into hundreds of holocrons in order to bring you the knowledge and insight of all things Star Wars. Come and join them as they go inside the Force.
Welcome back, everyone, to Inside the Force. David Cottingham here with Casey Cooley.
Hello, everybody.
This is episode 52.
52.
Which basically puts us at a year, I guess, anniversary-wise.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, man.
Thanks for joining. We got a lot to talk about on this episode as we wrap up episode 2 month. And then we're going to wrap up reviewing the new and final season of the Clone Wars. Probably, arguably, the best
Yes,
arc
it could be argued
of the series. Got a special treat for you. A nice little interview again. We're going to drop in, and of course we'll report on some news, get you in some trivia, all that good stuff. So, the way we're going to finish out episode 2 month is highlight and profile a person that's tied to not only episode 2 in a way, but also into the final arc of the Clone Wars, and that is Jedi Master Sifo-Dyas, who, again, could be argued as one of the most important characters that is turning out to be in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
And one that has not made an appearance in a movie yet. I mean, we haven't seen him alive at all, pretty much, in anything.
Yeah, even in these.
And I remember specifically in episode 2, when watching in the theaters, thinking, is this guy made up or is he real? No one really knew because you didn't see him. And, of course, it was brought up by the Kaminoans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. To Obi-Wan when he's investigating. So, and I remember reading, leading up to, or I remember reading afterwards that, well, it was just a front because Sifo-Dyas is so close to Sidious.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
That everybody was like, oh, he just kind of changed his name a little bit, to
clever.
order. But yeah, but no, Jedi Master Sifo-Dyas is actually a real character, and if you watch the last arc of the Clone Wars, you get even more information on that, and we'll get into that. But first, we'll kind of highlight him and talk about him a little bit. Now, again, with the whole EU stuff and the story group stuff, we like to report mainly on things we know that tend to be canon now.
Right.
A lot of Sifo-Dyas' story came out in the novelization that happens before episode 3, which is Labyrinth of Evil. I didn't read it. Did you read it?
Yes, I did.
No, you did. Okay, so it's
been a while.
You're supposed to. You obviously get a lot of this story that we're about to say that happens inside of that. So you don't get that much of it even in this Clone Wars arc.
Right.
You get a little bit.
Yeah.
But you still, you get the aftermath, I should say. You don't really get the pre-stuff, like the stuff that we're going to talk about, because that happens in the book. So we'll just dive right in. He's from the Cassandran worlds, and he's just a male human, Jedi, and very Force sensitive, obviously gifted, and he is a little different than most Jedi, where he has the gift of precognition. So, obviously, Jedis all have somewhat of that with the Force.
Yeah.
They sense emotion, right? That's what Yoda says, right? Always emotion is the future.
Yeah.
But he actually can see the future, really have a deep sense of what's going to happen.
handful that can really do that very well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he has the precognition gift. Obviously raised as a Jedi. Built a blue bladed lightsaber, as you see in the Clone Wars. Gets to Jedi Master, becomes very, very close friends with one Count Dooku.
Mm-hmm.
Jedi Master Count Dooku. Traveled together, did negotiations together. One such negotiation that we highlighted last week. Was it last week that we talked about Jocasta Nu?
Yeah.
Where Dooku, Qui-Gon, Sifo-Dyas, and Jocasta Nu, around 52 BBY, had a meeting on the world Sereno. That is where they actually were confronted by Higo Damask, who we've actually talked about on the show as being Darth Plagueis. Mm-hmm. So he expressed, at that point, started the ball rolling and expressing concerns about the Republic, about possible corruption that's hiding within the Republic. And it actually caught Dooku's and Sifo-Dyas's kind of awareness, because they kind of sensed it as well. So as time goes on, Sifo-Dyas really, he actually runs into Higo Damask a few times, and he obviously keeps expressing, something's coming and something's happening. Sifo-Dyas starts sensing this, and being with Dooku, obviously consulting with him a lot about it. Eventually, he does take it upon himself to do something about it. Mm-hmm. So he decides what the Republic needs is a cloned army. Now, I don't know, was it with Dooku's advice? I'm not sure if Dooku even really knew.
Well, they both, when they did it together, didn't they?
They might have. I'm not sure. It might say more in depth in the book, but I know Higo Damask knew because he funded it. Mm-hmm. So Darth Plagueis is the one that actually funded the clone creation of the Grand Army. So Damask Holdings funded the money to Sifo-Dyas, who went to Kamino to commission the creation of the clone army in secret. Obviously, the Jedi Council did not know, as Mace Windu pointed out in the movies. So that happened right around the time of Episode 1. Because that is when Dooku pretty much left the order. Sifo-Dyas made the order of the Dooku left the Jedi Order. Sifo-Dyas placed the order for the clones. And of course, around that time, that is when we kind of dive into what leads to eventually, because that whole 10 years between Episode 1 and 2, no one knows this is happening.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, besides...
It's at the dark side.
Besides the dark side.
Because it's on a lost planet, so no one knows. Yeah.
Right. And what happens is Dooku discovers the clone army, and they set it up. Palpatine wants, because now Darth Plagueis is out of the way, so it's Palpatine and Dooku, and they basically set it up to where they set up Sifo-Dyas' death. Now, this is where... Now, this is not explained until the now Clone Wars series. Of what actually happened, because if you read about what happened in here in the online, is that he is just missing and he's dead, and the reports are basically, as you learned in the Clone Wars, now they had a file that he was at a mission in Felucia, died on Felucia. They have some ceremony of getting rid of bodies in a way, so that's why there is no body. They couldn't find a body. So they just assumed that he died on that mission to Felucia. But in reality, as we'll talk more deeply into the series, he is killed by Dooku. And as we have pointed out in a previous episode, his blood is actually used to create...
Yeah, his body's kept, preserved.
and his blood is actually used to create General Grievous.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we still don't. I guess eventually his body's gone because we don't know what happened to it yet.
Right.
But Sifo-Dyas, once he is obviously deceased, that whole 10 years, Dooku assumes control of the creation of the clone army as Darth Tyrannus. 10 years goes by. No one knows this clone army is going on. Like you said, Dooku, still member of the Order. Right before he leaves, he goes to the archives, erases Kamino, as well as several other planets, including Dagobah. And I had the exact number. I think it was like 20 other worlds that could be Sith related, or help out in the Sith. So they basically he was deleting all the Sith known worlds from the Jedi. 37 additional systems is what valuable Sith planets is what he erased from the archives. So, what am I missing? What else am I missing about Sifo-Dyas?
Well, that's about it. 'Cause there's still not everything.
No.
I need to read The Labyrinth of Evil again because, although I don't remember much more than what we already know about him.
Yeah, and I don't know if, I'm assuming that Labyrinth of Evil is going to be canon.
I would think so.
I mean, it would have to be, wouldn't it?
I would think so.
It was a George Lucas commissioned book.
Well, I know the ideas. I don't know I don't know if he basically gave them the go ahead to write the book, but I know like his ideas were in the book. So I don't know if the writers just knew what he wanted and wrote it, or if Lucas actually went to them and be like, "Hey, you need to write this story."
Yeah, all it says here is that the backstory was promised by Lucas to be revealed in Revenge of the Sith, but instead was explained in the lead-in novel Labyrinth of Evil.
So it probably will be canon. I mean, there's even, I think I've mentioned this before, but there's even an event that is referenced in Episode 3 that is told in Labyrinth of Evil. Like when Obi-Wan tells Anakin, or Anakin says, I've saved your neck for like the 10th time. Obi-Wan says, 9th time, that business on Cato Nemodia doesn't count. That happened in Labyrinth of Evil. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go.
So
it should be connected then.
It should very much be connected.
So, in a nutshell, as far as Episode 2, relating this Episode 2, that is what we know from Sifo-Dyas is that he commissioned the cloned army. No one knew about it, and he was killed, in what we now know from the Clone Wars series, on Felucia. But that is all contradicted now, obviously, with the series, the final season. So, but again, I think the highlighted points of it is that he was very close to Dooku, was basically manipulated by Darth Plagueis, and then obviously murdered by Dooku and Sidious in order to keep the Clone War, the clones, a secret. So moving into kind of the final series, final arc of the series, which is very Yoda heavy. It was the last 4 episodes, basically. The Yoda arc is more of the last 3. The fourth, the last, which I don't have the title in front of me. I don't know if you can look up the title
of those arcs. Yeah.
But the one, which is basically the 9th episode, right? No, 10th episode.
Yeah.
The 10th episode of the final season, that is where awesome. I mean, one of the best looking animation parts to me, anyway, when they're on that moon, Plo Koon and those troopers with all that sand, that storm going on, and that dust.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it looked just phenomenal. Cinematography on it was awesome. So, anyway, they discover a lost Jedi ship. And Plo Koon goes in and realizes it is the lightsaber of one Sifo-Dyas. That's how we know he had a blue-bladed lightsaber.
Yeah.
Now, so that basically leads into the mystery of what actually happened to Sifo-Dyas. This is where we get the the file number that references that he dies on Felucia, which ends up being false, obviously. So they begin to investigate what happens to Sifo-Dyas. Is it so? This is when Obi-Wan and Anakin
they go to what planet did they go to? They went to some whatever. It wasn't Felucia. They didn't go to Felucia, but it was some planet where they had ties. I thought they had ties to. It was like some mob kind of planet.
Yes,
it was like
I think it was pirates on there or something like that, or something.
That weird guy.
And they discover that Sifo-Dyas was traveling with the Chancellor's aide, and that they were still holding him prisoner,
right?
As basically a bargaining chip. And it has been what 12 years?
Probably depending on where this episode took place. Yeah, and it's called The Lost One.
The Lost One, correct?
Yeah, The Lost One.
Dooku gets wind of this as well, so he arrives, and there's a great lightsaber battle.
Yeah, that episode alone was just. Cool.
I know, man. Right? I want to say it was on a planet that it sounded familiar, but anyway, I don't know if you can look that up.
Yeah, I'll find it.
But so basically, they find out that obviously Dooku had something involved with Sifo-Dyas. The aide was going to kind of reveal the whole story. Basically, he was almost crazy at that point, talking crazy, and Dooku basically force chokes him before he can get everything out. But what we can gather is basically Dooku hires these pirates on this planet as a bargaining chip to shoot down Sifo-Dyas' shuttle when they were leaving the planet. Hence, they crash landed on this moon. They went down, gathered the bodies. Sifo-Dyas died in the crash. This aide they captured and brought him in, and the guys, they said they admitted they held him as a bargaining chip against Tyrannus. So he was known as Tyrannus at this point because that's how they referenced him.
Right.
But that's obviously Tyrannus came and got the body of Sifo-Dyas.
Yeah, and I honestly didn't know that. I thought that was common knowledge that Dooku's name was Tyrannus. Like, is that his real name?
No, that's his Darth Tyrannus. That's his Sith name.
Count Dooku is his real name.
Correct.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, just get it. Oh, that's confusing.
But they didn't know, and I don't think they ever knew until then
that Tyrannus. Yeah.
He was Tyrannus.
No,
yeah,
because that's when.
And I don't think they ever put. Even then, they didn't put it together.
Well, they did when Dooku showed up and those pirates came on. They're all on that platform, and the pirates knew him as Tyrannus, and they said, Tyrannus, and the Obi-Wan says, "You're Tyrannus."
You're right. That's what I'm saying.
That's when they figured it out.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like in episode 2, when Obi-Wan is at Kamino, and he's like, when he was talking about the clones to Jango Fett, and Jango goes, I was commissioned by a man named Tyrannus.
Yeah, they didn't know that. No.
Well, I'm saying they didn't even put it together. Like,
yeah.
Okay, so obviously this guy's Sidious because Dooku even tells Obi-Wan,
yes,
there's a Master Sidious.
Yeah.
Did it not dawn on him? Like, okay, so that means the apprentice is Tyrannus. But he knew Dooku was evil.
Yeah, dark side, obviously dark
side.
So
he didn't put it together that he's not Tyrannus?
They just don't know.
You're Tyrannus?
Wait a minute.
I mean...
I just figured something out.
This whole time?
This whole time.
You had the pair of gloves this whole time? So, that was a little weird to me that they didn't... I mean, he has a red-bladed lightsaber. Come on,
Yeah. Wait, no. Come on.
Maybe I'm just colorblind now. I thought it was blue.
No, come on.
So that episode kind of ends with them realizing that there's more to the Sifo-Dyas story.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like you said, it doesn't really answer everything.
Not everything,
but
still pretty cool.
Still pretty cool. I mean, you can kind of put the pieces together, I guess, in your own way. And
Yeah, I mean, honestly, what more do we need to know? Is there any other questions that we need to? I mean,
well, I don't know if does it matter that so he goes to Camino, orders, so they see him. They see this guy Sifo-Dyas order the Clone Wars. I mean, is it weird? I guess that Dooku would show up and be like, "Okay, I'm now in charge." I mean,
you're talking about for the Camino,
for the Caminos,
yeah.
But here's the thing: they knew, because we know that as well.
Yeah, they knew the whole scheme behind it.
Yes, they know about the implant. So at some point, Dooku comes in and says, "Okay, I'm taking over, but this is what we're changing." And I guess they just went with it.
That would be the only thing is how far. Yeah, like when
because I don't think Sifo-Dyas did that.
I don't think
because he's not a
Sith. Him kill the Jedi, right?
Correct. He was doing it to help the Jedi.
Yeah,
but when Dooku comes in as Tyrannus, he somehow changes that code.
That happened all pretty early, like right after they killed him.
Well, it had to have. Yeah, it had to have because
killed him immediately.
Killed him. Went over to Camino. It was like, he dies. I'm taking over.
Well, they didn't know he died, so
that's right.
They didn't know.
So somehow Dooku just comes in and I'm in charge now.
He's not gonna come around anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be your liaison.
Yeah.
This is what we want.
Unless they knew but didn't reveal it to Obi-Wan that they knew.
I don't think they knew. Which is okay. It's still okay
because here's the thing: is that according not knowing that last season, no one knew the Kaminoans were in on it.
Right. But even that, you're bringing up a big point because when Obi-Wan came in episode 2, they were still thinking that the whole Jedi Council wanted this.
Correct. Unless they were just
playing.
They had to have been playing along. It seems like.
Master Sifo-Dyas.
Right, because they knew they had to keep this a secret.
Yeah. Well, they were excited. They were even expecting you. Like, they were expecting somebody or just...
Or maybe... Or it's possible Lama Su didn't know?
I don't know. That's so weird.
Right?
Yeah,
see, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of
question.
questions. Yeah, how much the Kaminoans were actually involved.
Yeah.
Who knew? Obviously, the one that was doing the implanting knew. I guess I don't know what her name was. Lama Su, the actual prime minister, did
I don't know. That's a good
she
question.
or he? Is she he or she? He. Okay, so did he know?
Yeah.
Well,
I wish Dave Filoni they would make a movie, a spin-off movie of Sifo-Dyas.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
I don't know. I mean, we're not getting any more Clone Wars apparently, unless we get in comics or novels or whatnot. But so that's what I'm saying, that you can kind of come to your own conclusions or somehow develop your own story against it. But did the Kaminoans know? How many of the Kaminoans know? Did they? Why would they want the Jedis killed? You know, I mean, they're just getting money and getting paid. Who cares? Did the Sith offer them protection no matter what? You know, who knows? I mean, they probably did they even know that Dooku was a Sith? You know, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot on that side. I mean, I think the Sifo-Dyas part is more clear because how he died, and all that. But just the takeover of the Clone Wars. I mean, that's a big thing. Yeah. Because that was, we talked about it. That was a pretty good arc with the clones and knowing how that works and Order 66 and all that stuff.
Yeah, pretty cool.
But anyway, we get into the last 3 episodes. Which, I mean, I got chills watching it.
That's pretty cool.
Freaking awesome.
It's pretty awesome.
So Yoda, and like I said, every episode, spoilers if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But Yoda, it starts off with him meditating and hearing.
Gets right into it.
Yes, hearing the voice of Qui-Gon Jinn and the voice of Liam Neeson.
Yeah, it's Liam. Yeah,
which is awesome.
That's cool.
Now he had done that before.
Yeah,
right in
the
2D
Mortis Ghost of.
No, he was Qui-Gon in the 2D Clone Wars as well.
Oh, okay.
Right? Didn't he show up there?
I don't remember. It's been a while. I don't remember.
I thought he showed up there,
but he did do it in the Mortis episode.
Yes,
where he's a Force Ghost. Or
that's
whatever.
Or maybe that's what I'm thinking of. And I thought he was in the 2D version as well.
I don't know.
Because no, I'm thinking of the movie too. Because Sam Jackson was the voice of Windu in the movie, right?
Yes.
And Christopher Lee was Dooku. Okay, Qui-Gon showed up, I think, in the 2D version of Clone
I can't
Wars.
remember. I have to double check
With
that.
when Anakin was going through his trials
Like as a spirit.
as a
or
spirit.
whatever.
When,
Yeah.
Or you remember there was a flashback when he was a kid, I think,
I don't remember.
and he was training.
Well, you can't be training them.
No, what was it? I have to look that up.
Yeah.
Dang it, I forgot.
Well, he was. Yeah, I mean, he was.
Either way, I
yeah.
know he voiced himself prior.
Yeah.
But so Yoda, it was interesting to hear Yoda actually say that is impossible,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I thought that was very
Yeah.
interesting. So he goes and kind of expresses his concerns to the Jedi Council. I thought it was really cool that part where they all come around him to try to
That was awesome. They
tap into
meditated
the
for
Force.
like a day or something like that.
They just and nothing.
nothing. Like how could you just sat there forever?
I know.
Nothing happened.
But anyway, he gets told in a vision while he is I don't know what the method was, but he gets put into a water tank,
Yeah. Supposed to enhance,
like a
induce.
deep hypnotic
it-
state.
It induces like meditation, deeper
Mm-hmm.
meditation. It's weird.
So in that, he was told to go to Dagobah,
Mm-hmm.
which was awesome. So
Yeah.
with the help of Anakin, he gets out, goes to Dagobah.
Did he go with R2?
He goes with R2.
Yeah.
Correct. And this was really eerie because this is where my hairs really started standing up because when he gets out and Qui-Gon starts talking
Yeah.
and that light and the music plays,
The real
Star Wars music. I mean, I was flipping out. That was so awesome. Oh man,
Like it felt like you could just slide it right into the movie.
it felt like you were watching the old trilogy, man. It really did. It really did. And you find out a little bit more, a deeper meaning of Dagobah. It makes, it really makes Dagobah more significant when it comes to episode 5.
It does. Yeah.
Does it not? Because just watching 4, 5, and 6, you think, well, this is just a uninhabitable planet. That's why he went there. But he actually went there because of these experiences. That's so awesome, man. So he goes to the very cave that he sends Luke through, and Starkiller in a sense, I guess.
Yeah.
Which isn't real anymore.
Yeah. It's fake. It's a fake.
Dang it.
Not canon.
As of right now, it's definitely not canon.
And I don't know. Really, no one's really been reporting that.
Well, I don't know. I keep forgetting to listen to that podcast you're talking about.
Yeah, because
Well, tell everybody what you're talking about.
it was a podcast called Far, Far Away. Sam Witwer was interviewed. He was a guest on the show, and he was being interviewed. And they briefly talked about Force Unleashed, and because Sam Witwer said he went into audition for episode 7, and that right there made me think, well, why would you audition? Yeah, you played Starkiller, and that's canon. So why would you go and audition unless you're a Starkiller in episode 7?
Right.
But they didn't say that's what it was for, and then they talked about how Force Unleashed is probably going to be retconned or rewritten or maybe just dropped it altogether. So basically, Force Unleashed as of now is not canon until a story group would say something, maybe unless story group says
I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but I guess I'm obviously okay with that.
Yeah.
Even though I think it was a great story, a great tie-in. The only reason, honestly, that I want to be okay with it is I would like to see Witwer in the Star Wars movies.
Right.
Even if it's not Starkiller or something. He's a phenomenal actor, I think. And he loves Star Wars, and I think he would do justice. I mean, I think he would play a villain, awesome.
Gosh, yeah.
But just how awesome would it be if he was actually Starkiller?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That would be awesome.
Maybe they're keeping it a secret.
Maybe, he seems very convincing way he just
Really?
way he said no, because he said if he went into audition, he would have had to have denied it, but the fact that he didn't go into audition, therefore he can say no, I didn't go in. But that's why I thought maybe, because he said the role that he went in for,
Maybe he didn't go into audition. He just went in to talk about.
Well, he said
Starkiller.
he didn't even go in. They wanted him to come in. and then they
Rewrote it.
all the rewrites. Therefore, his
See,
character changed.
I wonder if Starkiller was originally in there.
That's what I thought. Maybe he was originally in it.
Wow.
And then he changed it.
That's big.
But he didn't say that it was, so I don't know.
So anyway, if you haven't seen or played the Starkiller or Force Unleashed 2, he travels to Dagobah, and Yoda is there, and he goes into the
cave.
The cave.
Right.
But Yoda, back to the story. Yoda goes in, sees. Now this is where I had a little bit of problems.
Yeah.
Possible problems. Yoda sees visions in this cave. Similar to, obviously, Luke. Now, see, this is where, obviously, I might have just convinced myself. So when Luke's in there, he sees Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And he fights Darth Vader,
Yeah.
cuts Vader's head off, and is revealed that it is Luke's face. Now, to you,
Yeah.
what is that saying?
I think it's facing your fears, and it's like your own dark side self in a way. Like, I mean, honestly, when first watching it, I thought like, well, it's kind of telling him that Vader's his father.
Right. And that's...
But in this sense, through watching, maybe like through rewatching it and through watching even the Force Unleashed stuff and even the Clone Wars, seeing Yoda going through it, all these trials, I almost want to think it's just his worst fears
manifesting into Vader.
Yeah, Vader's his worst fear, and him going to the dark side is also a fear of his. So I think fear of Vader, fear of the dark side.
Yeah, and I think it can be interpreted very different ways.
Yes.
Because in my initial viewing of it, I thought, I didn't know it was his father.
Right.
Because that was the beauty of seeing that for the first time and not knowing that when he says, "I am your father," it's like, what?
Yeah.
But anyway, so you don't know that what I got out of it the first viewing, because like you said, now you can interpret it different ways. I think knowing the truth, but if you didn't know the truth and you saw that, my first thought was, okay, if you go down this path, you're going, this is what you're going to become. You will become Darth Vader.
It's kind of
right. So in a sense, you can say that is kind of a future that he's seeing. He's seeing a future version of himself. Now, after the fact, you could almost say, okay, he saw what his father had become. You know, there's a Skywalker in that mask. So I don't know, or like you said, it's his fears that he's facing.
And I think that kind of goes in with the future, like what you could become.
Right.
The fear of what you could become.
So when Yoda goes in there, he sees, I think it's like 4 different visions. So one of them was a group of Jedi charging what looks to be clones and striking down clones. And it's guys like Obi-Wan, Mace, I think Fisto's in there.
Yeah.
Which, so it's a strange scene because we haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Then they show a dark hooded guy fighting 3 Jedis.
Yeah.
And it's basically showing the scene where Sidious strikes down Kit Fisto. And I don't know the other 2 guys' names right off the top of my head. But the other 2 guys before he fights Mace Windu. There's one other scene.
Shows him electrocuting.
It shows him electrocuting Mace Windu.
Yeah.
And then it shows Shakti getting a lightsaber through her chest.
And you hear some audio of like there's another Skywalker or something like that.
And at the end there is another Skywalker, correct. So there's a lot going on in there.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing it for the first time. I watched it twice. I remember seeing it for the first time thinking, wait a minute. Okay, so because 2 of the visions, I remember I said, okay, those 2 actually happened. And the other 2 I was confused about. Because at first, to to be honest, when I saw the Jedis rushing the clones, at first I thought that was recreating Geonosis.
Yeah.
But I thought, well, no, that already happened. That has to be the future. So when I went back and rewatched it, I was like, well, okay, well, that's not, we haven't seen that because they're killing clones. Now the Shakti thing, it just makes me wonder why they put that in there, because that was a deleted scene.
Yeah, that's deliberately put in there.
Yes.
Like,
I guess to what? To show that this is a possible future?
Or either Lucas wanted to show it to say like he feels that really did happen and he wanted someone to see it if he didn't put it in the movie.
But it didn't happen.
But sometimes those deleted scenes are still counted as canon. Like the signing that one.
Well, here's the thing: is if it's canon, then there's a continuity issue.
Yeah.
Because when Anakin is put on the Jedi Council, Shakti is sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
She's on the council, and that scene is that is actually Grievous killing her instead of while they're trying to save the Chancellor. Because originally, instead of just walking into ray shields and getting caught, he bargained. He made them. Grievous had Shakti prisoner, and he says, surrender or I'll kill her. And they surrender, but he kills her anyway. So that's a deleted scene, which I thought was pretty brutal. But, but anyway, so we know through the Clone Wars, Shakti is on Kamino this whole time, training the clones. So, but at some point she does come back to the council because, like I said, when Anakin gets put on the council, she is sitting there. And it was said, it is kind of known knowledge. See, that's the thing, is the Force Unleashed, she survives when Anakin or Darth Vader comes and raids the Jedi Council. She's one of the ones that, makes it out of there alive, makes her way to Felucia. Starkiller ultimately is the one that kills her. Now, see, obviously that's not canon anymore. So when does she die? I don't know if it says in there.
Oh, that's true.
If she dies on the Jedi raid, or Vader, or Vader's raid with the clones, does she die then? Because if not, then she's possibly still alive, as the Force Unleashed kind of indicates. But I was just really questioning why they put that vision. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I want a director's commentary.
Absolutely. Well, isn't there there's some special stuff on the Netflix, but I haven't really dived into that. But there's supposed to be some extra stuff.
If they have director's commentary for the Lost Missions episodes, we're definitely.
But that was, that really kind of bothered me at first because I was like, why did they put that in there? I just, but obviously Lucas saw this, so he was okay with it. I mean, but I guess in the end, are we in agreement that this is what he saw was a possible future? Yeah, not an actual future.
Yeah, I think that
because obviously the scene with the clones doesn't happen, or does it? I mean,
unless they're placing that after everything, during the Jedi Purge, unless they're placing that, so she really did die.
Yeah,
that's later.
But the part where Obi-Wan and Mace are charging against clones, that never happens.
That's true. Unless that was
because Obi-Wan's on Utapau the whole time.
It's got to be an alternate future other than maybe there's just another unmade episode of Clone Wars where they do fight some renegade clones or something. That's the only other explanation I can think of other than it's an alternate future.
Okay.
Which makes sense.
It does make sense. Well, that's what I'm saying, because the Vader thing.
Well, doesn't like in Episode 5, Yoda talk to Luke when he's telling him about seeing visions of the future,
Well, he only sees emotion,
right? But right,
because he says always emotion.
Don't act on it, it's always.
Well, see, that's the thing does Luke actually have precognition? Because remember, he says, "I saw a city in the clouds."
Yeah.
And then Yoda's like, difficult to see, always emotion in the future is. So he saw suffering and
in
death.
Motion or emotion?
I don't know. I always thought it was emotion.
I thought it was in motion.
In motion?
Yeah, always in motion, the future is. Because it's hard to tell because the future's always in motion. It's always changing. I don't know. I thought there was something. Maybe it's two different parts.
Because Luke says, I saw a city in the clouds.
Yeah.
I saw death. They were hurting.
Yeah.
And that's why I always thought he said emotion
maybe
is the future. Always emotion is the future.
Yeah.
That you can see the pain and the suffering, but you can't actually see what happens to them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he says. Will they die?
Yeah.
Difficult to see.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he says. Oh, okay. So he says difficult to see. Always, I always think he said always emotion is the only. What does he say? He says difficult to see. Always emotion is the future. I think that's what I always thought he said you can see emotion, but you can't see actually the physical, actually what you actually see. Yeah. You have to subtitle that thing.
Yeah.
Anybody knows? Tweet us if you know right away. Is it in motion or emotion?
Emotion. We'll look it up too. But yeah. Anyways.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's so there probably are alternate futures, those visions. That's got to be the most logical explanation that we can think of. And I'm trying to read up on her biography here, and it doesn't help.
Okay, so Yoda then gets told that he must travel to what he is told. He is told to go to a certain planet, right? That is deep into the certain part.
Sun,
the light part,
the
light. I don't even know what it was called, but he's told to go. He's guided by the Force. I don't think he even knows where.
Yeah.
But he ends up going. This is the next episode. This is the 12th episode. He goes to this planet.
I can't even say how to describe it. It's just like a force.
It's like a life, energy force place where these beings are, that are just flat floating around. And it's weird. They all have emotion.
They're called sages.
Sages
in the description, the four sages.
Okay, and they explain to Yoda that he must go start his training. To get to where Qui-Gon did not get to. Qui-Gon started it, wasn't able to finish it. That's why he never can manifest himself. He can only use his voice. Which
is interesting. Like, did Qui-Gon go through all this stuff, or did he try to go through all this?
I think he attempted it. That's what I mean.
That'd be cool. I want to see that.
But here's the thing. Now, okay, remind me when we get to the end. I think there's a major continuity problem with the movies now. Okay, so remind me about this because I talked to Chad about this. But anyway, so Yoda gets to this planet. He starts the trials to learn this, and he goes into what is kind of described as a very dark place where he has to face his fears. Now it was interesting because Yoda was like, "No, I've already done that. I don't have any attachments. I don't."
He's very sure of himself.
Very, very sure of himself. And I thought this was, to me, the most incredible scene of the Clone Wars. With little dark side Yoda that he comes against.
Yeah, and I think this actually might have been influenced by a book, Dark Rendezvous, which I've talked about on this show, how Yoda was tempted by Dooku to go to the dark side.
Right.
And he's like, no way, because you don't want me to go to the dark side.
Yes.
I think this might have come from that. Or maybe just coincidence. I don't know.
No, I definitely think that it had some influence because just the fact that we see what he could become as a Sith in a sense.
Yeah, just deformed by what the dark side could do. It was like a little demon,
man,
pygmy guy or something.
But he is able to fend off his dark side and kind of take control of it, which basically renders him completely selfless and away from emotion and attachment. So he comes out of it. In the end, he comes out of it. He was faced with different trials in there with temptations and some very, very good ones. You see, we finally see Ahsoka again.
Yeah, that was cool. Which made me wonder, too, where did this take place? And it's pretty much recent in the timeline, the latest installment.
So then after that, he is told by the sages that he must take one final trip to Moraband.
Moraband.
Not Korriban.
Moraband. Yes, indeed.
Which is now characterized as the Sith homeworld. And he travels to Moraband. Say already stuff. Travels to Moraband, and this is the final episode where Morban now is deserted, and it's been deserted. Just like Korriban, it has been deserted. It is just a place where a bunch of Sith temples still are erected. Now, in the brief history of the Sith, this is where the Dark Jedi went and basically started the Sith Order. The Sith were the inhabitants of the planet, used them to kind of turn them. They were force sensitive, turned them over to the dark side. So that seems to be canon in a sense. Now they just changed the name of the planet because it sounds, like you said before, it sounded more like Coruscant.
That's what apparently George Lucas changed it. He's open to doing expanded universe stuff, incorporating expanded universe if it fits. So he didn't. Coruscant didn't fit. I'm sorry, Korriban didn't fit because it sounded too much like Coruscant. So he wanted to be Morban.
Correct.
But there you go.
So Morban and Yoda enters and sees a vision of, which is pretty incredible. He sees a vision of, at first, I think is the first one Darth Bane, or does he see Sidious first? Or not Sidious, Sifo-Dyas.
No, Bane was first.
Bane was first.
That unlocked that tomb.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that was really cool because Bane, that even just solidifies his place in the canon. That actually Darth Bane was the creative
appeared and something on screen which would be canon.
That's right. And Yoda knows that he formed the rule of two, and
he even alluded to like the Sith. All the Sith were extinguished except for him, which we talked about. Was that kind of like that thought bomb, whatever that Sith thought bomb that wiped out everybody?
That's right.
So and that kind of fits in.
So defeating Bane in a sense, it opened a passageway deep into the temple, where there's a vision of a chained up Sifo-Dyas. This is where we actually see a physical form of Sifo-Dyas. Turns out that it's actually not him. Dooku, you find out that Dooku and Sidious are on Coruscant trying to
basically
manipulate and change Yoda, basically stop him, because it was great, because in the end it's like he's too powerful.
It was like their test to see if they can overpower him now.
Yes, if they can attempt to turn him or change him from the light side. Kill him, yeah. So there was a great little, not real, but a semi-battle between Yoda and Sidious again. And it's
pretty epic.
Anakin gets involved. Very, very epic.
And like they even, he staged in how he killed Dooku.
That's right.
Dooku killed Dooku.
Yes.
That was pretty cool.
Exactly. That was pretty cool. And basically in the end too, it's like he chooses to sacrifice himself. That's what kind of shows his selflessness by saving Anakin while just getting electrocuted. Took it, yeah. But overall, in the end, it turns out that he realizes how strong. They both kind of realize how strong and there's a problem. How huge the issue is right now. The Sith realize how powerful Yoda is, and then Yoda realizes how powerful and deep this the Sith are.
But he should know exactly where they are now, because that vision basically told him they're in that
part
of Coruscant. Unless that happened maybe right before Episode 3, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know if we know exactly when that happens.
We don't, but I mean, it would make sense.
But anyway, a great story arc. Really, really shows the depth of the Force and the strength of Yoda. So real quick, let's drop in. We were able to catch up with Tom Kane again. We talked to him a few weeks ago when the series was released. He was at LexCon a couple weeks ago. We wanted to save the interview for this arc. So we caught up with Tom Kane, talked to him about this Yoda arc. Now that it came out, we were able to kind of get his insight in it. So take a listen real fast. It was kind of short. It's only about 9 or 10 minutes, so take a listen. Hey everyone, it's David with the 21 Network, and I'm here with Tom Kane.
Cool.
How are you doing, sir?
Very good.
So we caught up with you a couple weeks ago before the release of the brand new Clone Wars series on Netflix, new season. Now that it's out, it's been a week now. The Yoda arc, which was phenomenal. Congratulations. It was wonderful. Now that that's out, let's talk about that a little bit. I wanted to know your feelings about that particular arc, about the Clone Wars and the Force, because it deals a lot with Force Ghost, the midi-chlorians. Do you think that's something that George wanted to tell the whole time?
No, it absolutely was. I mean, Dave, we did a premiere, for want of a better term, up at the Presidio at one of the Lucas facilities to sort of announce the let Netflix deal.
Right.
And they aired the Yoda arc, and that is something Dave talked about, is that this really was some stuff that George wanted to establish as canon. Because obviously he's moved on in life, and he's still going to be, I'm sure, involved somehow. But
right.
he really, I think he really is going to actually enjoy his semi-retirement for a change. And Dave said he really wanted to lay some stuff down in cement, that answered some questions and raised more questions.
Right.
Yes. But really, that's something that they've been doing for a while now at Lucasfilm, is sort of running things by George. Everything. I mean, stuff going, projects going back 20 years. Is this canon? Is this not canon? Is this, he would make his proclamations, and so obviously, now that Disney owns it, they may tinker with it.
Yes.
I doubt they're going to go too far with anything too crazy, because just out of respect for the creator, for the maker.
For the maker, yeah.
But I think there's definitely, though, there's some stuff that was in the Yoda arc that is going to show up in other areas now.
Oh, okay.
So,
but in your opinion, do you think that was something? Because we saw the Force Ghost in episode 6 at the very end. That was kind of Obi-Wan kind of threw out. Was that something you think, in your opinion, needed to be explained, or was that just something that we thought just happened?
I think that because it was brought up in the Clone Wars earlier,
right.
and Clone Wars is canon. George said that from day one, that this is all canon. So in that respect, I think it did need some explanation, if for no other reason than because they could, and I think it's terrific. I mean, the way they sort of had it was something that was just taken for granted in the original. The first time we saw that happen, it was just something Jedi did. It didn't occur to anybody that was not something that Jedi did.
Right.
That was, and so to go back and sort of lay the backstory about this is something that Yoda couldn't do. Yoda had to learn this somehow. So I mean, it's and that's one of the things I think is, as a fan, I loved about the Yoda arc, is that it showed that Yoda is not this all-powerful, all-knowing. He has doubts, and he's mortal, and he
Absolutely.
So, it was cool. I was like,
and I thought that was one of the best parts, was by far the part where he's fighting himself. His dark side. To know that, because Yoda is my favorite character, and to know that he had a dark side. And he was able to kind of get rid of that. That really adds to his.
No, it does.
His weight in episodes, the original trilogy.
Yeah, it adds a whole another layer of depth. That because George was always very tight-lipped about Yoda. I mean, I've been told that's his favorite character, and he, quite on purpose, did not explain anything.
Right.
Why? Where's he from? Where are the other ones?
Exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I asked him one time about, can you tell me anything? Just that simple.
He answered it just like that, probably, right?
Yeah. It was just,
That's great. So, the end of it, though, to me, in a way, it didn't really feel like a closing to a television series.
No. Well, because it wasn't. I mean, the episodes that they finished, in what would have been season 6, were not meant to be the end of the series. I mean, there was no plan to end the series at that point. I'm sure there were very good reasons Disney had. I'm sure there were legal reasons. There were, the fans, got upset about it, and of course none of us were happy about it. But what I've told everybody is, look, they didn't just pull the plug to be mean.
Yeah, I know.
They didn't want to, anger, half the planet Star Wars fans. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were some serious and legitimate reasons why they did that. But the fact that they were able to finish what they did was terrific. But no, that was not none of the stuff that happened in season 6. Either the stuff that was finished and the stuff that was not finished was going to be the end of the series. So everybody had planned on it going a little further than that.
Right.
How far? Who knows?
Yeah. But is it true? Is it safe to say that we are not going to get any more television series based Clone Wars stuff?
I don't know of any plans to do that. But again, I wouldn't. Because
like you said, you've recorded.
We had recorded
almost season 7, right?
We had recorded all of season 6. I think 20 episodes, and I think we had started on 7. I know it sounds terrible that I can't remember, but it's as I tell people that, and they're like, "How do you not know?" I'm like, "Well, because the production schedule they had was crazy in a good way. They, most places would take several months off between seasons. They took off a week.
It's
like it would just be like, okay, and then there's no Clone Wars next week. Why? Well, I wonder why. Oh, wait, because that was the end of the season. And then we'd start up right again.
Wow.
Just boom, one after another, after another, after another. So, I wasn't paying attention to the number on the script.
Right.
I was just looking at the story and, stuff like that. So that's why I'm a little bit going, I don't know how many we did. There might be 3 more seasons out there. I don't know. There aren't.
I think this is an interesting question now, especially after the Yoda arc. One that we at the network debate a lot. In your opinion, what is truly the stronger side, the light side or the dark side?
Yeah, that definitely did open up a can of worms in that regard.
It did.
Because, suddenly you saw Yoda getting his butt kicked, a little bit. And but that is a cool question, because it really does call into question which is stronger. Obviously the Jedi side, the light side, has some strength behind it that comes from a place of goodness. So they've got that on their side, but obviously the dark side can be pretty strong. I mean, the Emperor, as we know, succeeded.
Exactly.
I mean, he built the Empire and he brought down the Jedi.
Yes.
There's clearly some strength there. So
yes.
We may not have liked it, but it was there.
And it took the Last Jedi to really even, and we don't even know if it actually truly ended because of
that's right.
7 and 8 and 9 coming hopefully. So
it didn't. We're gonna get some more.
Well, thank you so much, Tom, for
pleasure
sitting with us and catching up with us with the Clone Wars.
Well, thank you, and thanks for your kind words about the Yoda arc. I encourage everybody to check out the entire season on Netflix, the series rather, and because if you haven't seen it, you missed out on some cool stuff.
You are missing out. So. All right, well, that will do it for us here. That's
I appreciate it. I do. Yes.
Have a safe trip back.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there you go. That's Tom Kane. Thank you, Tom Kane, again for joining us on Inside the Force. Again, real quick, we have that figure. A lucky listener did win the figure, so congratulations on that. That we're sending out a signed Yoda figure from Tom Kane.
Congratulations.
Yes. But anyway, I remembered. So the thought I had about the whole Force Ghost thing.
Yeah.
If you have to okay, so you have to go through this training,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yoda went through it,
Mm-hmm.
obviously mastered it, taught it to Obi-Wan to commune. Well, he basically taught Obi-Wan to be able to commune with Qui-Gon, which then led to. So I'm assuming that Obi-Wan had to go through the same thing,
Well,
right?
there might be a different way now that they've learned it. Since it's more, they may not have to go there. They may be able to do it more internally.
Okay.
Because that would make sense for Anakin, maybe.
Well, I was about to say,
Yeah.
how is that explained now?
Yeah.
That he can just become a Force ghost.
Yeah. Maybe they just learned how to do it.
Because that is a
differently.
real problem to me.
Yeah.
Honestly, it is a real problem in a sense. Because at that point, I mean, he doesn't know. I mean, he doesn't know any of that.
And Darkseid can't do it, or they don't know how to.
That's
at
right.
least.
Well, I don't think. Yeah,
They
had no.
It's just not. They're not wired that way. They just can't do it. So he would have had to have learned. Point from when he died.
But he didn't learn.
Yeah, but maybe when he died, they taught him up while he was in that kind of living force.
Right? Yeah. Could they grab him, or is it explained that if you redeem yourself, then you can become?
Well, he sacrificed himself in a way
Yes.
that was kind of like a stage
Yes.
that Yoda went through. Like he has come to terms with his dark side, like what Yoda did. So that's like 2 stages right there. And like the 3rd stage.
Man, I don't
So
know.
maybe he went through all of it unknowingly.
But that's a stretch,
Yeah.
I guess. But that is a stretch. Because I'm sure the other Jedis have done it prior to Yoda and
Maybe,
Obi-Wan. That same kind of redemption or... I
don't know.
That's what somehow they got to explain it.
I got to tweet that to Leland Chi.
Yeah, somehow they got to explain that, I think. How is Anakin able to do that?
I might actually do that. Tweet that to Leland Chi.
Yeah. That would be good. And I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm upset that he has that wardrobe he never wore.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. It's like the Matrix. You can kind of like make your own, your
Maybe.
vision of yourself. It's like,
But Yoda and Obi-Wan are wearing the things they died in.
yeah.
So anyway, that's no big problem there. But anyway, the bottom line is the arc was awesome. You need to check it out if you haven't already. We spoiled the whole thing there. So anyway, yeah. Okay, so moving on. And real quick on the news, we don't really have that much.
Well, the only thing I will report on that's newsworthy, because everything else is still rumors and all that. But Peter Mayhew, who we have talked about how he's making a comeback health-wise, seems to be doing a good job walking, and still having some physical problems though. He was going to make some appearances at some cons coming up this year, and it seems that he has canceled. It says that he's canceled his appearance at this Comic Palooza due to filming. He canceled an appearance, and now people are just saying maybe this is because it's for episode 3, because the convention is held in May, and filming for episode 3. I mean episode 7. Episode 7 is supposed to start in May, so that these things coincide. So they just think, well, he's canceling this Comic Palooza appearance due to filming episode 7. So that's just kind of further, that Chewbacca, Peter Mayhew may still play Chewbacca in episode 7. Well, I mean, which I hope it'd be cool if he does. I hope he's healthy enough to do it, because it didn't seem like he was for a long time. I just hope he's not pushing himself too hard. But that's really the only thing they'll report on. I mean, it would be cool to have him back.
It would be.
I just wonder if someone else played Chewbacca, how would it be different? Like, would it be any different at all? I don't know.
I don't see how it could be, because it's just a tall guy walking around in a suit.
Tilting your head.
I guess.
And just shouting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, well, I'm sure, though. It'd be cool. It'd be cool if he came back.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Okay. A little light on the news front. Last week, if you guys are out there playing Star Wars the card game, we finally got the brand new Force Pack. It's the first expansion since August when Edge of Darkness, the Balance of the Force came out. the multiplayer version of it. Now this is the Echo of the Force cycle. The first Force pack was called Heroes and Legends, and in that you got 5 of the 6 affiliations, all but the Scum. Very unique and cool cards. They're really focusing on the balance of the Force part, the Force struggle part. I mean, there's a lot of elements and mechanics that part of that game. I just played Corey a little bit ago.
I played him earlier today.
Yeah, I played with my light side, which I had incorporated the new Kyle Katarns and the Aquarius freeholders. Didn't get the Kyle Katarn, but I was able to play the freeholders, and I ended up winning in 4 turns.
Sweet. What did he play with? Did
He
he have
had
like
his-
new stuff?
He did. He had his Sith Navy. He was able to get like I think he got the new General Mock out.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Michael Caine card.
Yeah, Michael Caine. But he didn't. I was never really threatened. He didn't really. Like I said, it was only 4 turns in. I was able to get a lot of damage out because I was able to get. I had Luke out.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to get Yoda out. Enhance Yoda.
Mm-hmm.
I had some good cards. I like that deck. That's my Jedi Smugglers combination. Mostly characters. I do have a couple of vehicles in there, Redemption and Millennium.
Oh, Millennium because of
the
and then Redemption also.
Yes.
I thought about doing pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
I just haven't had time to really figure.
But I
out
had
what to do.
Red 5 in there that I had to take out
Yeah.
because the freeholders are Smugglers affiliation only. So I had to change
That was
affiliations.
The same problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then we switched. I was dark side. I went with my new, what I'm calling my Thundering Herd deck, my ground assaults.
Yeah.
He had his new Jedi Smugglers one, which had the Kyle Katarn. He did that mechanic on me where he focused the enhancement or focused the objective, switched out Kyle Katarn.
He did that?
Yes. Because he was exhausted and then he switched him out.
Yeah.
It's pretty good mechanic, man.
Yeah.
Because when you do, then the reaction is you remove somebody, or no, you place a focus token on somebody, and then he played in an edge battle the Echoes of the Force thing where it removed somebody. No, commit or remove.
Yeah.
He removed my Vader from the Force, which won him the. I mean, it's very good cards that are in there. So anyway,
he won with that.
He won. I was waiting. I did some bad mistakes, but I was waiting because the next turn, the only reason he beat me, I had 3 AT-ATs and Vader out there as defenders, and he had 2 of my objectives. He had 2 damage on one of them, right? And now he had Kyle Katarn. He had a freeholders out there, but it had 3 damage on him. And I had like 2 damage on an objective. Basically, in the end, when it was my turn, I had cards in my hand that I could have destroyed all 3 objectives and won the game.
Right.
He ends up playing a Slew Scout. I can't defend.
Yeah.
He wins.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so. Oh, I'm so pissed off. Anyway, for those of you that aren't following because you don't play, it's such a great game. You guys got to get it. In fact, for all you gamers out there, this Saturday is apparently Tabletop Day, where you celebrate tabletop games. I'm actually going to be at A Plus Comics, teaching the card game.
So what time does all that start?
2:00. I think 2:00 on Saturday. I'm supposed to be there. You, if you want. I mean, I don't know what you're doing.
If it's later in the day, I can do it. Yeah.
I think it starts at 2:00. I don't know how long it goes for, but we're supposed to be there, kind of teaching the game to people. Star Wars the card game's going to be there. We're going to try to get some new players. So if you're in the Lexington area, we will be there. A Plus Comics, Southland Drive on Saturday, the April 5th. Teaching the game.
Come meet us.
Come meet us. Yes.
And they don't have to bring it. We have all the stuff
No,
form.
we'll bring our decks
And they have their A+ has stuff too.
Yes,
for them.
They have the kits and stuff like that. So we'll try to get some people more involved in that. All right. Anything else?
No.
Besides that, no comics this week to report on.
No.
All right, so let's get into some trivia. This is the last trivia for episode 2. Let's see. Throw a number out there, Case. Somewhere in the 5, 6, 7, 800s or something like that.
Okay, let's do.
Or even some 400s.
Let's go with 721.
721. All right. Here we go. 721.
Okay.
Ooh, this is another unknown one, but
okay.
I think I don't know. 721. What type of blaster did Jango Fett use? A Godstar 23, a Wester 34, a Yonstar 29, or a White Star 34?
If it was Han Solo's gun, I know that.
I don't know that. I don't know. What type of blaster did Jango Fett use?
Jango. 721. Godstar 23. West Star 34. Yon Star 29. White Star 34. See, it's going to be like just a guess.
It is just a guess.
I'm going to probably guess wrong. I'm going to go with B.
That's what I was leaning towards.
West Star
actually.
34.
I was leaning towards B. That was my first inclination. I think it's B or D.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah.
So, that was my first thought. I'm gonna have to go with you. I'm gonna go B as well.
Okay.
Yay! We both guessed right.
I was thinking maybe like Smith and Wesson.
Smith and Wesson. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of. So that's what's the Han Solo?
Maybe it's a question here. I don't know.
Oh,
we would have done. Well, it's a Blast Tech like DL44 or something like that.
So 34 and 19. Casey's 29 and 24.
Yep.
Now in the trivia category. All right, before we close out, you can follow us at Inside the Force on Twitter. I am D Cottingham21 on Twitter. Casey is Kryptonian1138. Go to our website, InsideTheForce.com. Our Twitters and everything are on there. Our email, info@InsideTheForce.com is right there if you want to send us any comments or questions. We got some banners there for some deals, T-shirts and statues and whatnot, all things Star Wars. Go check that out. All shows, all 52 shows are right there. We will be, I will eventually be putting up the interview that you heard on the show, Tom Kane, on our YouTube channel at /21 Network. We actually videoed the interview, so you'll be able to see me and Tom talking at LexCon there. And I want to just kind of give a quick shout out to Christopher Biggs, who actually, I think we mentioned on here before, but sent us a really, really, really great email acknowledging how much he loves the show, and we appreciate that. Wanted to just, I sent him an email back, but I wanted to kind of say it. Congratulations on your upcoming marriage. He's actually getting married a week before you, Casey.
Yeah.
Casey's getting married in the month of May as well. His honeymoon actually starts May the 4th.
I saw that. That's awesome.
At Disney.
Yeah.
How awesome is that? So congratulations, man. Thanks for listening. It's, fans like you, obviously, that really keep us going. Mm-hmm. We're fans ourselves. We love talking Star Wars and doing the show. And 52 weeks, man. It's been me and him.
Yeah.
So anyway, check out 21 Network for all the other shows. If you want more in depth about the Force Pack, we have a podcast, Star Wars TCG. Mm-hmm. We will be discussing the Force Pack in depth. Me, Casey, and joined by his brother Corey. Check out all the shows at Inside the Force or at 21network.com, like KooCast. You got KooCast, the Aylmer Podcast, In the Comics, the 21 Podcast, Popular Fanatics. Brand new show, the Cool Time Show with Casey and Corey. Got 8 shows on the network now.
Yeah.
There's got to be something there you like. Got to be. I promise.
Your girl. Come on.
Yeah,
there's something.
We're actually working on getting some female podcasts going here. We need some of that demographic. All right, guys. We really appreciate you guys listening. So we will check you out next week. For Casey Cooley,
what is lost is often found. That is the moral for the Sifo-Dyas episode, the lost one.
Oh, nice.
So that's because he doesn't say anything.
He doesn't say anything.
So, yeah.
Again, thank you everybody for listening. We really appreciate it. Check us out next week as we start episode 3 month. Man, we're going right through all the movies here. Episode 3 month. Send us any suggestions if you want to hear any certain profiles, but we will profile somebody from episode 3. All right. We'll check you out next week, Casey.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody. May the Force be with you.
This has been a production of the 21 Network. For more great podcasts, visit 21network.com. To view additional content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/21network. Follow us on Twitter at 21network for the latest news and updates. The 21 Network, for the fan and all of us.